目とまぶる
What is going on, you guys? It's your guy, Senpai Rai, and this is officially the third installment on my How to Play videos. Now, predecessing this one, I have dropped a video on how to play as Ganitz and how to play as Lady Mr. Big. But for this specific video, if you haven't guessed it yet, Nameless, this guy right here, is the topic of discussion. Now, Nameless is a phenomenal player, but has a few interesting gimmicks, you guys. And he obviously is a fan favorite amongst many people in the KoF AllStar community. So, without further ado, let me show you guys how to use this individual. Speak on his cores, speak on his skills, speak on his imprint stones, which I will get up to level 7, both the circle, square, and hexagon tier, and specific battle cards. But in the meantime, let me drop 2 specific memories and 4 purple fest memories. So right this second, everybody, 4-star Nameless coming right up. Let's go. And here is everything you need to know about this magnificent bastard right now. Come on. Okay, everybody, before I go over Nameless's different skills, tactics, and different ways that you can manipulate them, let's start off with just understanding his cores. Now, for his first one, the nest test subject, that's when you obtain 5% power whenever you land a crit with a very short 3-second cooldown, as y'all see. And it also increases penetration by 650 for 5 seconds upon landing a crit, and it stacks up to 3 times. Now, that might sound like it would be wonderful for guard break, but if you don't land crits, you don't get this second benefit. So that's why one of Nameless's original problems was he didn't have any kind of a guard break or any kind of a throw or a way to get around most people's guard, especially if they're a shell player. Now, for his second notable core, Isolde, that's when he applies, well, you guessed it, Isolde. And essentially what that does is it deals burst damage, not dot damage, burst damage. So whenever you land an active skill, it deals an additional 150% of Nameless's attack stat in the form of burn damage, and also furthermore decreases the power of your opponent by 5%. And there is a 25% chance to gain super armor for 4 seconds. Typically it's 3 seconds, so that extra 1 second does play a moderately huge role. You guys keep that in mind. Now, let's jump into the fun part, everybody. What do you say about that? So, for Nameless's skill 1, this is interesting. It is I almost said strike skill. It's not. It's a blast skill. But interesting, his skill 3 is a strike skill. Whenever that's the whole stage projectile, essentially, it is a strike skill. I think that somebody down the line got skill 1 and skill 3 mixed up as far as what they do. But let's dive right in. Now, for his skill 1, again, it has a PvP exclusive where it disables a target's roll for 4 seconds whenever you land this skill. And it disables, very important, strike active skills for 3 seconds when a successful skill guard included ends. Now, let me show you some real-time footage where you can actually manipulate this and use it as a wonderful opener to start your combos as Nameless. Let's go. Okay, everybody, Nameless's skill 1 is an excellent hold and control skill. Check it out. I hit Nameless with a skill 1 and he just sat there for a while I was able to run through my entire set of basics because he did not have roll for 4 seconds. It also is an excellent control skill because keep in mind that it also disables strike active skills for 3 seconds. And also, if you catch somebody out of the air, like now for instance, they will just sink like a stone to the ground, allowing you to again use your actives or basics. And bear in mind that Nameless's third basic and every single one of his actives, 1, 2, and 3, can pick people up from the ground. So here it is again. I'm actually getting this done to me as iori, which was not fun because I know that if I'm playing somebody that is versed with Nameless, they know how to use this skill to their advantage. And check it out once more. Omega Ruga, I was using a genocide cutter. I was able to use it as a hold skill and also knock out his actives. And then from there, continue along to basics and actives to finish the combo. Excellent hold and control skill again. Nameless's skill 2, this one right here, covers about the forward moving distance of a roll before he completely engulfs his body in flames. And the raw statistics behind it are that it increases your attack stat about 45% of the defense stat for 8 seconds when he uses this specific skill. Now this is an excellent way to chain combos together or pick people up from the ground if they're, say, about a sweep distance. And again, a sweep distance is roughly between 2 and 3 steps away, roughly about the length, once again, of a roll. So this is an excellent pickup skill right here. Alrighty everybody, let's move right into Nameless's skill 2. This one right here. And that is an excellent forward moving skill that picks people up from the ground, which also converts 45% of your defense into the attack stat for 8 seconds. So let's combine everything that we've learned. We use the skill 2, and then we use the skill 1, the one that disables the roll for 4 seconds and disables strike skills for 3 seconds, and a lead with basics since she does not have the ability to roll and get away, giving us more time to fulfill our actives and get them back. Now while they're on the ground, hit her with the skill 1 again, a freezer in place, disabling her roll, leading with the second skill, the one that again converts 45% of your defense into your attack stat, giving Nameless a nice little damage boost, and then fire off his epic 3 tier. So, bearing all that in mind, let's move to his final third skill. Now, Nameless's skill 3, the one right here, should have for all intents and purposes been a projectile because it covers the length of the stage and it's a projectile. It absolutely is a projectile, but the game labels it as a strike skill with the fist icon right here. And its raw statistic is that it makes Nameless become immune to damage for 3 seconds. Now, this third active skill is the one I typically start the battle off at the very beginning with in a lot of instances, because as I will show you in a second, it is excellent whether it hits or not. If it hits, it creates openings, and if it does not and you get clipped with a few actives, it gives you 3 seconds of survivability, including if you get hit by, say, a super, which would typically break hyper armor, you will still have your damage negated because this is, again, not hyper armor. This is just straight up damage immunity, which is one of my favorite types of skill sets in this game. So let me show you what the tactics look like behind this one. Nameless's skill 3, the one that gives simply damage immunity, which is phenomenal, is how I usually like to start the fight because you might catch them like this. But even if you don't catch them for this particular time, you will still have damage immunity. Now, even if you get hit by a super, you will still be immune to damage, unlike hyper armor, which if you get hit by a super, it will negate your hyper armor. And look, you can actually use the forward pushing skill 2 to catch them off guard from about a sweep distance, which is about a little bit less than half the stage. But if you want to be really flashy, you can hit them with a full stage skill 3 followed by a roll or 2, then close the distance with a skill 2. Now, let's put what we have learned about skill 3, the full stage strike skill, that also gives damage immunity, to good use. Now, I'm going to swim just for a second against Pretty Zero, and as soon as I finish getting comboed, there you go, lead with a skill 2, defense into attack, a few basics, skill 1 hold, pop my wings up, combo a little bit, pick up with a third basic, and skill 3 for the win. Y'all a little bit more confident yet? Well, let's reinforce everything that we have just learned. I'm going to start off with a skill 3, the one that gives damage immunity, create a little bit of difference because Mr. Dwayne The Rock Johnson is extremely dangerous. He usually hits with all of his actives followed by a double basic attack in between, like now for instance, which is devastating in most instances. Now, that would be enough to kill most opponents if he had all 3 actives. Luckily, he only had 2 available at the time. Now I'm going to create a little bit more distance. I hit the skill 3, so I shouldn't be affected by any damage at this point for the next 3 seconds. Close the distance with his skill 2. Again, that creates 45% of his defense into attack stat. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 seconds, 0 seconds, 1 seconds, 0 seconds, 1 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 Couple of basics, build up my PG, and while he's closing the distance, and with his skill 1, the one that disables the roll again for 4 seconds and disables strike skills for 3 seconds even when guarded. Now for Kula, I'm going to hit with a skill 3 again to start off with a damage immunity, and since she has about a 6-second touch to reflect her freeze ability, I'm going to fire off my 3 PG right now. And as you see, if you get caught with a reflect, stun, or petrify, or what have you, it will bring you out of your super if you're playing as Nameless. Now, I'm going to drop all my actives, and Kula is now effectively getting PG from her block from her core ability. Now, she rolled me, and she's hitting me with her 3 tier, but I'm still in my iframe from firing off my traditional 3-tier super, and close the distance with skill 2 again, and finish up with his skill 1. Now, Nameless versus Nameless fight. Again, I'm going to start off with skill 3 since I have about 10% health, and he caught me with touch, and I'm suffering from dot damage. Close the distance with skill 2, couple of basics for my actives to come back as you see, hit the skill 3, and finish up with his epic 3-tier right now. And again, this is why Nameless is an excellent sweeper unit, which is a good back row unit, completely capable of soloing the whole team. Whenever you get Nameless up to level 90 and acquire a memory for him, you will unlock the circle slot as far as the imprint stones go. Now, there are many imprint stones, unlike a few other the characters that I've already covered, say Gaynets and Lady Big, where he has a lot of imprint stones that just work for him. So I'm going to give you my personal favorite combination that I am going to, of course, get the imprint stone up to level 7, because you will get the first ability unlocked at level 5 and the second one unlocked at level 7, also with a sliding scale, and speak on the subject and why I think this is the best combination, for me at least. Now, take this information with a grain of salt, you guys, and customize your Nameless however you want, but again, this is my personal choice. Now, let's start off with the first imprint stone that works for him, the red imprint stone. Now, the red imprint stone obviously gives him an attack increase by 3%, which is always nice, and at level 7, he will get a nice decrease in burn, poison, and bleed damage by 9%. So that would definitely work for Nameless. Now, the second stone that would obviously work is the green imprint stone, where, you know, Nameless is a defense type, and his second skill will convert 45% of his defense into his attack stat, giving him more survivability and attack. So for the first ability, giving him a defense increase by 3% is a welcome addition. Also, for his second ability that unlocks with this stone, it will increase strike and grab skill damage by 4.5% on a sliding scale all the way up to tier level 10. Again, once also his skill 2, the one where he moves forward engulfing himself in fire and covers about the distance of a roll, along with his skill 3, the one giving damage immunity, is a strike skill. And as y'all know, Nameless has no grab skills. So yes, the green plus imprint stone is a nice choice for Nameless. Now, the next great stone possibility is the yellow plus imprint stone, which, as you see, gives him a nice HP boost by 3%, improving his survivability. And for the tier 7 ability, it removes the enemy's power by 2% upon landing an active skill with a short 3-second cooldown on a sliding scale. So essentially what that does is it enhances his core, where he further negates PG. So all of those stones thus far have been excellent choices, but the one that we're going to go with and level up all the way up to tier level 7, unlocking both of the abilities, is going to be the circle plus imprint stone. This one right here, you guys. So let me cover this one real fast. For the first ability, it'll give you a nice attack and an HP increase by 2%. Obviously, the HP will help with his survivability, and his attack will help you end the fight that much quicker, supplementing his skills. Now, after you get this stone up to tier level 7, it will give you the ability to recover Nameless's HP by 4% upon landing an active skill as a critical hit, as long as his HP is 70% or less, with a relatively short 15-second cooldown. This is, out of all the stones thus far in the game, This one is the best heal stone, especially for Nameless, giving him much more survivability. So we're going to choose the Circle plus Imprint stone and get it up to level 7 for this slot. Now, let's continue to the Square tier. Upon awakening Nameless for his second time, which require an additional specific memory of his, along with 2 purple vest colored memories, since he is a purple defense type, you will unlock the Square tier. Now for the Square tier, spoiler alert, pretty much all these stones will work for him, but I'm going to give you my personal recommendation, so let's begin. Now, for the first stone that would work for him is the red stone. Now, for the red stone, it gives him an increased penetration by 100, as you see, for the first ability, and for the second ability, it will increase his burn, poison, or bleed damage, but the one that works for him is specifically burn, as y'all know, and it will increase the damage dealt by 8% for 10 seconds upon using his awakened skill. A little bit on the situational side, but it will work for him, but we can definitely do better. So for the next possible stone, let's go with the purple imprint stone. Now, as you see, it will give him a nice 3% HP increase for his first ability, and for his second ability, it recovers HP by 0.5% every 1 second for 7 seconds after he uses his awakened skill. Now, this will give him further survivability, but at the same time, it is a rather low situational heal, to say the least. So, having said all that, let's see if we can do better and do exactly that. Let's do better. Life lessons everywhere, right, you guys? So, the next applicable stone going down the list, because again, all these stones will work, is the green imprint stone, which, as you see, gives him a nice 3% boost to his defense. And again, his skill 2 converts 45% of his defense into attack, so that would definitely help his survivability and attack. Now, his second tier ability that gets unlocked at, again, enhancement level 7 is this one right here, which decreases strike and grab skills, pretty much anything but a projectile. Well, that's exactly what it is, anything that isn't a strike or grab skill, right? It decreases the strike and grab skill damage received by 6% for 10 seconds upon using his awakened skill. So again, situational, but as long as you pop your wings out, you will get a pretty decent damage mitigation from, again, the strike and the grab skills. And that, again, is from the Square Green Plus Imprint Stone. The next Imprint Stone that will definitely work for him is the blue Square Imprint Stone, and as you see, for the first effect at level 5, it'll give him a nice 3% attack increase, and at tier level 7, again, it will give him the ability to decrease damage received by 8% for 5 seconds upon using an awakened skill. Again, situational, but a wonderful damage mitigator along with a nice sliding scale attack boost. But having said all of that, you guys, we are going to go with, well, what's the only one I haven't named? The yellow plus imprint stone. And now, this is why, you guys, I have this one on Pretty Zero and on Ganitz. Now, this is why. The first ability that gets unlocked at tier level 5, again, is the ability to increase Nameless's power charge rate by 3%, and this will increase during each level all the way up to 10 once again. And if you know anybody that's half decent with Nameless, including yourself, you know how quickly his PG gains effect. Very, very quickly. Now, if you boost that even further, then you're just firing off his 3-tier card back to back to back to back. It's insanity how well this stone works with Nameless, so that's the one we're choosing again. And for the second effect, you see where it gains power by 1% for every 1 second for 10 seconds upon using an awakened skill. Now again, this is a little bit on the situational side, the second effect, but overall will increase your PG gain. So for the second tier slot, we are absolutely going with the Square Yellow plus Imprint Stone. After awakening Nameless for the third time, you'll be able to unlock the Hexagon tier imprint stone slot. Now, similarly to the circle and the square slots, there are many choices. So let's begin. Now for the first really interesting choice, that's how I'm going to label it, let me go with as you see, the Hexagon red plus imprint stone. I said it was interesting because dig this, everybody. For the first ability, it gives you a nice HP increase by 3%. Nothing too out of the ordinary so far, but check this out. For the second ability, this is the one where it decreases active skill cooldowns by half a second upon landing an active skill on a burned, poisoned, or bleeding enemy with a short 5-second cooldown. Now this would be amazing if Nameless had dot damage, but as you guys already know, whenever Isolde, his core ability, actually procs, whenever he hits an enemy with an active skill, he will get burst damage. So having said that, since it's burst damage, I don't know if you can land an active skill on something that does not have dot damage. I did not want to raise the resources and try to experiment with this until we can actually unequip imprint stones, because still, right till this very second, after you equip an imprint stone, it is locked to that character. So this was an on the fence pass right here, but if at any point as an inverse, you can just land burst damage, and every time you set the enemy on fire, so pretty much from any one of his active skills, this would be a phenomenal stone to imprint on Nameless. But again, it would be a gamble if that's what the wording actually meant to say. So we are going to skip that one, unfortunately. Now for the next applicable stone, let's go with the purple stone. Now for the purple stone, as you see, it gives a nice welcome addition to the attack by 3%, which is always nice. And for the second tier ability, it recovers HP by 0.9% every 1 second for 6 seconds when either frozen or petrified with a 10-second cooldown. Now as far as I'm concerned, that is a nice stone, but it is once again situational, where you're locked to either being frozen or petrified to get the health boost. Now for the third potential stone, we're going to check out the yellow imprint plus stone, which as you see gives Nameless a nice 100 to his penetration stat. And for his second ability, this one decreases the enemy's defense by 8% for 4 seconds upon landing an active skill with a relatively short 10-second cooldown. Now this is the one I imprinted to Pretty Clone Zero because she has crazy amounts of attack that are also complemented by a penetration core. But for Nameless, this will help him, but I don't think it would be strong enough to actually boost him into the guard break arena. So let's keep moving. Now, another really damn decent choice would be the blue Hexagon. And as you see, for the first effect, it decreases strike and blast skills. So as long as you don't get hit by a throw, you will have about 5% of the damage mitigated on a sliding scale. Again, leveling the stone all the way up to 10 will increase the stats. And for the second effect, it will give you a 10% chance to gain super armor for 0.6 seconds when attacked with a relatively short 10-second cooldown. Now think of this stone as a little miniature version of the new Fess set, the Odds of Having Fun, where one of the abilities does exactly this, except on a longer 2-second time frame as opposed to the 0.6 second time frame where you gain the super armor. Now this is the one that I equipped on Ganitz last week in order to give him more survivability, because after this procs he can hit his hyper armor skill 3 and start his combo after he hides behind that. All that stated, you guys, what stone have I not covered? Well, all that said, let's go with the green plus imprint stone. This one right here, everybody. This one right here. Now, for this one, as you see, it gives a nice HP increase by 3%, which is always a welcome addition once again. And the second ability, this one right here. This one increases damage dealt to balance or defense types, and as you know, the mass majority of characters that have been dropping have been defense types, and increases the damage by 6%. Now this is more of a PvP oriented stone, because obviously whenever you run through PvE, none of the adds are locked to a specific playstyle of character, whether it be defense, attack, or balance. So, all that being said, let's imprint the said stones. For the circle, again, we're going to go with the purple. For the square, we're going to go with the yellow. And for the hexagon, once more, we are going to go with the green. This one right here, everybody. So let's imprint those stones and talk about future potential battle card, set card, and option card combinations. Ready? Let's go. Alrighty. I got the first imprint stone, as you see, the purple one, up to tier level 7. And upon getting this one up to level 7, as you see, it gave me an attack increase by 3.2. And at the next level, it goes to 3.8. And for the second ability, this is the one where it recovers HP by 4%. It goes up to 5% after leveled up again. Whenever I crit off of an active, whenever my HP is 70% or less. And for the square slot, we went with the lightning stone, the yellow stone, and at its first charge, I get a 5% PG gain at tier level 7, and for the second ability, I gain power by 1%, and at the next level, it doubles to 2% every 1 second for 10 seconds whenever I pop my awakening skill. So let's equip this one right now, and as you see, after I imprint this stone, I cannot unequip it. Or I can unequip it, I just can't equip it to a different character. Let's say it like that instead. Now for the third tier slot, the hexagon slot, we went with the green stone, which at the first ability, at tier level 7, it'll give me an HP increase by 5.8%, and for the second ability, it gives me an increase in damage delta balance or defense types by 6%, gaining an additional 2%, moving up to 8% after I hit the next level, as you see. Now, let's imprint this one right now. Let me see this ugly screen every time. I just had to skip it that time. Stop reminding me that I can't share imprint stones. Yet, at least. Soon, though. Soon, my pet. I will feed you the world. Well, that was extremely dramatic, everybody. So let's just round the video up on that note. Let's dive right into different battle cards and battle card selections that would work for Nameless, and we can further customize him from there. So let's go. Now, let's touch on the subject of best potential set cards and option cards for this guy right here. Now, I'll put you this way, you guys. A lot of different options work for this man, but we're just going to touch base on the 3 most effective. So to start off, let's go with an old favorite of mine, the Kaya set. And as you guys already know, the Kaya set gives you a 7% defense increase per card, and the shared effect increases attack equal to 45% of defense and obtain 10% additional attack for 30 seconds and grants super armor for 5 seconds when tagging in. Now the super armor effect obviously only works for PvE and possibly League, so it will not help you in PvP types of scenarios. But granted, the 45% defense into attack right here, along with the 45% defense into attack from his skill 2, you will get essentially 90%. I kid you not, 90% of your defense stat converted into an attack stat. So you will probably also get the most CP from the Kaya set. And let's check that out right now. Equipping the Kaya set will give you a little bit over 45,000 CP with a little bit over 250,000 HP, 34,000 attack, and a little bit over 26,000 defense. Now that is a terrific option as far as the set cards go. Now, an honorable mention, I know I said I'd cover 3, but let's throw in an honorable mention that does similar effect to the Kaya set is the Mr. Big set. Now again, for the Mr. Big set, you will additionally get 42% instead of 45% of your defense converted into attack. They will give you the 7% increase in defense per card. And this is interesting. You recover HP by 3% and gain 3% power every time you defeat an enemy. So wonderful option for reliving Hell Dungeon or PvE in general. And the Mr. Big set is once again a free-to-play set that anybody could acquire by defeating the alternating dungeon featuring Chizuru. Now, another wonderful set with option cards is the Odds of Having Fun. And what this set essentially does is each card does something different. The first card gives you plus 7% attack, and the identical card is not leveled up. For the second card, you will get a 7% increase in defense. And for the third card, you will get an increase in crit rate by 3.5%. Now, all three of those are Nameless's core stat abilities. So this set will increase his maneuverability and his power pretty exponentially. So this is not a bad set. Also, it increases attack by 7% and increases defense by 7% with a 70% chance, or a 70% additional damage upon landing a critical hit, and a 30% chance down here to gain super armor for 2 seconds when receiving a critical hit. Now again, this is similar to the blue Hexagon, except obviously the effect is more substantial gained from this card. Now that is the second applicable set that will work phenomenally with Nameless. Now for the third and final set. Now this is absolutely the one that I thoroughly enjoy using on Nameless, because as stated earlier in the video, he does not have guard break, you guys. So factoring that in, the Ryugo set or the Checkmate set will fix your problem immediately, if not sooner. And as you see, each card gives you a 7% increase in attack, and the shared ability increases HP by 20%. And bear in mind, the way I have this Nameless built, 2 out of the 3 imprint stones cater to his HP stat. And of course, if he heals off of that stat and it's proportional to the maximum amount of HP he has, obviously from his purple circle plus imprint stone, it will give him much more of a heal. Now for the Checkmate set in itself, the shared ability increases HP by 20%, and there's a 10% chance to ignore target's guard upon landing an active skill. Very, very important. This will have other people thinking twice about your Nameless, and also have them move a lot more cautiously, knowing in the back of their mind there's a small percentage of a chance that Nameless will break their guard upon landing an active, followed by all of his additional actives, since once again they all pick the opponent up from the ground. And again, his third basic attack will swoop characters up from the ground, adding additional hits to your combo. And for the final part of the ability, why not? Let's decrease a target's attack by 20% for 10 seconds whenever we are attacked with a short 15-second cooldown. Now, this set is phenomenal on Nameless. This is the one that I would choose because it makes Nameless a force of nature. And of course, I have the 2 maxima cooldown cards, and I chose those because, again, check this out. They will influence his HP, and the more HP he has with the stones he has equipped, he will heal more, and it will be proportional to the amount of HP gains he gets overall. And with this setup, you will have a little bit over 42,000 CP, about 319,000 plus HP overall, an attack boost by 26,000 plus, and a defense boost by 20,000 plus. Okay, everybody. Now, this is absolutely everything you need to know about Mr. Nameless in his entirety. I hope that this video has been extremely informative, because let me remind you guys that these types of videos, the how to play videos, are absolutely the hardest videos for me to create. Now, let me throw y'all a little bit of candy before I round this video up. let me show y'all something real fast. Check this out, everybody. Spoiler alert, by the way, in case you want to cut the video now. Ha. It does kind of seem like a tall order, and my resources are a little bit on the dwindling side. But let's drop 2 specific Psyche memories and 4 yellow Fest memories, since he's obviously a yellow defense type. And 4-star Psyche coming right up. Here's everything you need to know about him, you guys. Let's go. Man, I must really love you guys, giving y'all a heads up spoiler on how I'm working on a how to play video with Psyche, apparently. So, on that note, I think I might just cut the video, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. If you have enjoyed my content, please like and subscribe. And if you have really enjoyed my content, please check me out at patreon.com/YT Senpai Rai. Link in the description. And once again, everybody, keep in mind that these videos are by far the hardest to make, especially if you're using your very own personal footage like I did for this one and all future upcoming videos. And I have had a blast doing it, everybody. And again, I'm not doing this for me, I'm doing this for you guys, because as long as y'all get pleasure out of using your favorite character, and who would have guessed that a lot of people's favorite character might be Gonet's, Lady Big, or Ganet's, volume 1, 2, or 3 of the How to Play videos that I've already dropped, then that is a joy to me, knowing that y'all are enjoying the game to the fullest, especially with your favorite character. So on that note, I'm again going to cut the video. I swear to God, this time I am. So all that being said, this has been your guy, Senpai Rai, saying, I'm out, everybody. Love you all. And I'll see y'all next time. Later.